نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد, then to continue with Rasul al-Thalatha, the three fundamental principles of Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, with the explanation of Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan hafidhahullah. Then we are on the third of the three fundamental principles with regard to knowledge about our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So last time, just to remember quickly some of the points that we had, then we had that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was born in Makkah, in the city of Makkah. And he was breastfed amongst the tribe of Banu Sa'ad. In those days, they used to, when there was a baby, they used to send him out to the desert, to the tribes in the desert, so he could enjoy the fresh air and fresh food and so on and so forth, fresh milk and so on and so forth. So he was breastfed amongst the Banu Sa'ad. And we heard, as Shaykh al-Fawzan mentioned, that his father, Abdullah, he died before the birth of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whilst he was still in his mother's womb. His father died. And that his mother died whilst he was still young. So he was looked after by Ayman al-Habashiyah, a slave girl who was owned by his father. So with the death of his father, she was older than him, but he inherited her. So she looked after him. And as for his guardianship, then he was taken under the guardianship of his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib. Then when he died, he came under the guardianship of his uncle, Abu Talib. Shaykh al-Fawzan mentioned that in his early life, even before prophethood, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he avoided the worship of idols. He avoided what the people of ignorance were upon. And contrary to many of them, he was known for virtuous qualities, trustworthiness, truthfulness, generosity, and so on and so forth. And as we said, an avoidance of idols. And that he used to go to the cave of Hira to worship for a number of days at a time upon the way of Ibrahim alayhi salam, on tawheed, on the worship of Allah alone. And at the age of 40, Jibreel alayhi salam came to him in the cave of Hira. So therefore the prophethood began. And just a small side point and correction here, I mentioned in the translation that Shaykh al-Fawzan mentioned that Jibreel, he took hold of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. First of all, he said to him, "Iqra," recite. So he responded, "I am not a reciter." So Jibreel alayhi salam pressed him very tightly, then released him and said for a second time, "Iqra, I am not a reciter." So he pressed him strongly and released him. And Shaykh al-Fawzan mentions on the third time he just said to him, "Iqra." So when he said, "I am not a reciter," he said, he told him the ayahs from Surah Iqra. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. He told him what to recite. So Shaykh al-Fawzan only mentions the pressing twice. So just a correction of that. That's what occurs in the explanation of Shaykh al-Fawzan. Even though there are three pressings mentioned in the hadith reported by Bukhari and Muslim, but just for accuracy, and Shaykh al-Fawzan mentioned the two pressings there. Then Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went back. When this happened, he went back in a state of fear to his wife Khadija. And she believed in him and she consoled him. And she took him to her cousin Waraqa ibn Nawfal, a man who devoted himself to the study of the previous books and to a life of keeping away from a life of worship. And he confirmed he heard what had happened, and he confirmed that this was the spirit who used to come to Musa alayhi salam. It was Jibreel, someone who used to come to Musa before. And we had this, so with this ayah coming down, Iqra, Bismi Rabbika alladhi khalaq, these first ayahs from Surah Iqra, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was made a prophet, a Nabi. Then that he became a messenger, a Rasul, with the sending down of the Surah Al-Muddathir. So he called, in Makkah he called his people to tawheed and warned against shirk. And he bore a great deal of harm from the people of shirk, himself and those who believed in him and his followers. And then after 10 years of this call, 10 years of prophethood, he mentioned, which will come in more detail today, inshaAllah, the night journey. Al-Isra, to the night journey, he was taken on the night journey by Jibreel to Jerusalem, and then up through the heavens on the Mi'raj. And on that occasion, the 5 daily prayers were made obligatory. Then he remained in Makkah for 3 more years, until Quraysh, their harm became so severe that they plotted to actually kill him. So then Allah the Most High permitted and commanded him to make hijrah, migration to Al-Madinah, which he did, and then he spent 10 years in Medina, also calling to tawheed, warning against shirk. And his soul, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, was taken in death at the age of 63. So his prophethood and messengership was for a period of 23 years, from the age of 40 to the age of 63. So Shaykh Fawzan made the point, this is astonishing how in that short period of time, how he was granted establishment upon the earth, how his call was blessed, so the call spread throughout the Arabian Peninsula. And the call to Tawheed and the warning against shirk. And the Shaykh made the important point that this was the call of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam for 10 years in Makkah, calling to nothing except Tawheed and warning against just shirk. For 10 whole years in Makkah. And then the prayer was made obligatory, that was added, and then the further duties were added in Medina, but still the basic core message remained, the call to Tawheed and the warning against shirk, right to the end of his life, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So whoever wishes to be upon his way with regard to calling, then it's essential that is the foundation of his call. And any call the Shaykh mentioned that is not based upon that basis, call to Tawheed and the warning against shirk, it will not be upon the manhaj, it will not be upon the methodology of Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he mentioned the importance, finished by mentioning the importance of Tawheed, the crucial importance of Tawheed, that even if a person were to do all the righteous deeds that he could think of, and to leave off all evils that he could think of, but he was without Tawheed, he was not upon Tawheed, he had some shirk, then it would not benefit him and there would be no point in his deeds at all. Whereas the opposite case, if a person were to be upon Tawheed, the worship of Allah alone, and he had with that some major sins, even major sins, which are less than shirk, then eventually he will go into paradise. Either Allah will forgive him and he will go straight into paradise, or Allah will punish him in accordance with the level of his sins that he committed, and then he will enter into paradise. So stressing the crucial importance of Tawheed, which was the call of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Then there comes a small heading on page 253 of the Lebanese print, page 197 of the Egyptian print, Muddatu da'wati fi Makkah, the time period of the call in Makkah. And before we carry on with the text, then there's a chunk of the text, a small chunk of the text missed out. The last thing that we had was the ayahs 1 to ayah 7 of Surah Al-Muddathir. يا أيها المدثر قم فأنذر وربك فكبر وثيابك فطهر والرجز فاهجر ولا تمنن تستكثر ولربك فاصبر. And in the original text, Shaykh al-Islam, he adds explanation for each of these terms. So we'll just read what he said, which is missing in this edition. ومعنى قم فأنذر ينذر عن الشرك ويدعو إلى التوحيد وربك فكبر أي عظمه بالتوحيد وثيابك فطهر أي طهر أعمالك من الشرك والرجز فهجر الرجز الأصنام وهجرها تركها وأهلها وَالْبَرَاءَةُ مِنْهَا وَأَهْلِهَا. So Shaykh al-Islam said in explanation of these ayahs, and the meaning of قُمْ فَأَنذِرْ, the explanation, arise and warn. Its meaning is that he should warn against shirk and call to tawheed. وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ, with the explanation, and your Lord, and venerate your Lord. He said, meaning, venerate him with tawheed. وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, literally what would normally be said, explained as, and purify your garments, your thiyab. He said, meaning, purify your deeds from shirk. وَالرُّجْزَ فَهْجُرْ, and shun ar-rujz. Ar-rujz, he said, it means the idols. And shunning them means abandoning them and their people, and freeing and disassociating oneself from them and from their people. Then comes the section, the time period of the call in Makkah. He said, Shaykh al-Islam said, rahimahullah, أخذ على هذا 10 سنين يدعو إلى التوحيد. He carried this out for 10 years, calling to tawheed. Shaykh al-Fawzan said in explanation, his saying, أخذ على هذا 10 سنين يدعو إلى التوحيد. He carried this out for 10 years, calling to tawheed. He said, meaning, he called the people to tawheed and warned against shirk for 10 years in Makkah. He was calling to tawheed and forbidding shirk, because they used to direct worship to the idols. And the wisdom in Allah sending him as a prophet in Makkah was that Makkah is al-Qura, the source for all the cities, literally, the source for all the cities. Said, the mother of all the cities. What was the wisdom in sending him to that city in particular for this purpose? So because Makkah is al-Qura, the source for all the rest of the cities, foundational, mother of all the cities. He said, that to which all the cities relate back to. And Allah, the mighty, Allah, the majestic and most high, says, وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ مُهْلِكَ الْقُرَى حَتَّى يَبْعَثَ فِي أُمَمِهَا وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ مُهْلِكَ الْقُرَى حَتَّى يَبْعَثَ فِي أُمِّهَا رَسُولًا. هكذا. The ayah 59 from Surah Al-Qasas, the 28th surah, with the explanation, and your Lord would not destroy the townships until He sent in the source one, the original one, the foundation of the cities, a messenger. Shaykh al-Fawzan explains this word He said, it is the marji', the source to which something relates back to, and the foundation which it relates back to. This is He's saying here, the Most High, Hunna Ummul Kitab. He gives a further ayah that uses this word What's the word that is commonly used for a mother in Arabic, because she's the source of where you came from, your mother. So he said, he gives another ayah, Hunna Ummul Kitab. So Ali Imran, the 3rd surah, ayah 7, with the explanation, they are the foundation of the book. Shaykh Fawzan said, the foundation, or the source, the fundamental, to which the ayahs whose meaning is unclear are referred back to. The ayahs which are muhkam, which are clear in meaning, then they are the ones which are described as Kitab, the foundation of the book. Shaykh said, meaning the ones to which the other ayahs, which may be some other ayahs which may be unclear, are referred back to. He said, likewise Makkah has been honoured by Allah in that it is the original place to which the whole of the people of the earth resort back to. And the Muslims in the different regions of the earth return to Makkah, turn back to Makkah. So it is Ummul Qura, the source of all the cities, with the meaning that it is the place of return. Therefore Allah sent His Prophet Muhammad he said Allah sent His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Makkah because it is Ummul Qura, the mother of the cities, foundation of all the cities. And he remained in it for 13 years, forbidding the people of shirk, the people of Makkah from shirk, and commanding them with tawheed. Because the people of Makkah, they are the example for others besides them. And therefore it is binding that Makkah should remain until the establishment of the hour as an abode of tawheed, and as a lighthouse or a beacon for the call to Allah. And that everything which conflicts with that must be kept away from it. So shirk and innovations and false superstitions must be kept away from it, because the people always look towards it. People always look towards Makkah and say, look, this has been done in Makkah, it can't be anything wrong with it. This is what happens in Makkah. So for this reason, he said, what is done in it is propagated around the world. So if what is done in it is good, then good will spread about. And if the opposite is the case, then evil will spread. So therefore it is obligatory that it be kept pure, that Makkah be kept pure, always. And therefore He, the Majestic and Most High, said, وَأَحِدْنَا إِلَىٰ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْمَاعِيلَ أَنْ طَهِّرَ بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْعَاكِفِينَ وَالرُّكَّعِ السُّجُودِ Surah Al-Baqarah, the second surah, ayah 125, with the explanation, and we enjoined Ibrahim and Ismail that they should purify my house for those people who make tawaf, and for the ones who stay there for worship, and for those who prostrate, or for those who bow and prostrate. Shaykh said, so it is obligatory that Makkah should be purified from everything which conflicts with Islam, so that the religion can emanate from it, and the call to the east and western parts of the earth. Because Allah sent His Prophet in it, and He began His call, alayhi salatu wassalam, from it. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam remained in Makkah for 13 years. From them were 10 years when He called to tawheed and forbade shirk, meaning only that. And he was not commanded with anything other than that. I mean, in those 10 years He was not commanded with any other commands. He was not commanded with the prayer, nor with zakat, nor with fasting, nor with hajj. Rather His call was restricted to warning against shirk and to commanding tawheed. He was saying to them, قُولُوا لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ تُفْلِحُوا. Say, none has the right to be worshipped except Allah, you will be successful. And they were saying, أَجَعَلَ الْآلِهَةَ إِلَهًا وَاحِدًا إِنَّ هَذَا لَشَيْءٌ عُجَابٌ. Surah Sad, the 38th surah, ayah 5. With the explanation that they responded, does He make all the objects of worship a single object of worship, that we are to worship only one? Indeed, this is something very strange.